Hi, my name is Mark Stelzner. I'm an assistant professor of economics at Connecticut College. Recently, with Daniel Nam, I published a paper called The Big Cost of Big Medicine, Calculating the Rent in Private Healthcare in the United States, in the Review of Social Economy. In this article, basically, we look at the degree to which healthcare in the United States, private healthcare, is overpriced as a result of changes in law. We look at change in antitrust law and change in patent law. So antitrust law is law which covers competition between companies, and patent law is law which basically gives companies a legal ability to exclude competition when they invent some new process, drug, etc. And so we talked briefly about the fact that antitrust law has deregulated. So basically, the government does not regulate competition between companies like it used to. So companies can merge or acquire other companies quite freely relative to what they could do in the past. And we also talk about the change in patent law, which basically has become more stringent. So patent holders basically have more power. They can extract more kind of profits from a given patent as a result of the change in patent law that's taken place. And so then we look at how those changes in law have affected prices in the different subsectors of private healthcare. So hospitals, physician groups, medical insurance, and pharmaceutical goods, which are the largest four subsectors of healthcare. And we find from a number of different micro studies which look at the price effect from concentration from changes in these laws, we find that they've had very significant effects. And we calculate a counterfactual for basically what prices would have been if these changes in law didn't take place. And we find that, for example, much of the increase in the cost of healthcare since the early 1980s can be explained by change in patent and antitrust law, which has given companies a significant amount of market power at the expense of the consumers, at the expense of Americans in general. So, for example, we show that the annual rent, the degree to which healthcare is overpriced as a result of market power, was between 2.47 and 4.30% of GDP in 2016, which represents billions of dollars. And it explains much of the gap between how much we pay in the United States and how much other countries, for example, France, which is the country that spends the second largest amount as a percentage of GDP on healthcare. Why are these results important? Well, these results are important because they help us understand why we spend so much in the United States, and they help us on healthcare, and they help us think about how we could remake our healthcare system to function better. So basically what these results say is that if we took away the market power of healthcare companies, then we could have the same amount of goods provided for a much lower price, the same quality, just profits for these companies would not be what they are right now. And we could also obviously then have much larger provision of these goods also as a result of the fact that then people that have been priced out of the market can come back into the market. So that means that changing antitrust laws or changing patent laws, or through operating like a single payer system where the government acts as a countervailing power, reducing the market power of private providers of healthcare, would dramatically reduce the amount that we spend on healthcare in the United States. So that has large implications on how we set up our healthcare system. So what's next? In terms of research, what's next? I'm looking at a paper right now with Thomas Herndon on indirect exploitation. So exploitation, when talked about in economics, is usually looked at as directly exploiting workers at a firm. So paying workers at a firm less than their marginal product. So it's the boss, or it's the owners of the company paying their workers less than they make, and as a result then them getting profits from that, earning from the fact that they're exploiting the workers. So indirect exploitation would be through market power. So through like the paper that I did with Daniel Nam. So basically through firms having market power, they can reduce the wage of all workers, not just the workers at their firm. And so in this paper that I've just started to do with Thomas Herndon, what we're looking at is we're going to actually model a two-industry economy, and we're going to show how even when labor markets are perfectly competitive, you can have, if you have one industry that has market power, and the degree to which it has market power, it can reduce the wage of all workers in the economy. And this idea is fairly well known in that market power reduces the real wage, but to my knowledge, it has not yet been modeled explicitly. So we're excited about doing that model. All right, thank you.